First things first, I need to say this before I get into the meat of this video. As you probably all have heard, the DOJ has given indictments against people in the United States that have actually trying to influence this particular election on behalf of Russia. Now, I know some Donald Trump supporters are going to say Russia, 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 echoing Donald Trump's BS. But there's specific proof against people like Tim Pool. Now, I've read some of his tweets, and they are pro-Russia. And more to the point, they're pro-Trump, which is exactly what Russia wants. I say all this because I want to make something clear. In the time I've been making these videos, I haven't gotten $1 single from anyone, and I have never asked for money. Now, there are YouTubers out there who do and are successful at it. I don't. I have never gotten any money from any of my followers. I have never gotten any money from the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign. Nobody has paid me to make these videos. No one has paid me to make posts on my personal Facebook page or my other Facebook page, CTP Know the Truth, or any of my Twitter page, which is now under suspension because I said something about Donald Trump that obviously Elon Musk and his Twitter ex-boys didn't like, or my TikTok page for that matter. All the links are being shown on the description below. That all being said, I have not gotten $1 from anyone about making these videos, ever. And why haven't I asked for money? Because obviously I can make a lot of money out of this. Why haven't I asked it? Because there are things more important than money. A lot more important than money. And this election is part of it. Which brings me to the meat of this video. This Tuesday, meaning September the 10th, is the debate between Kamala Harris, who represents America, represents our constitutional republic, represents freedom, and Donald Trump, which represents national suicide, fascism, the destruction of our constitutional republic. And we all know that everything I just said a few seconds ago about Donald Trump is 100% true. In just this 1 week, he has managed to show himself completely and totally impossible for taking on the job as President of the United States. I mean, for crying out loud, this is a guy who, at a press conference, he was asked about what he would do about child care because it's too expensive, especially with the inflation going on. He couldn't even answer the damn question. And when he tried to answer the question, he says, it's not that expensive. Child care ain't that expensive. But I'm going to get it down anyway because my daughter, blah, 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 yak, 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 and wherever in the world he at.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue, but I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country. Because I have to stay with child care. I want to stay with child care, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you.
Like, what did you say? Can you, it reminds me of the scene from Billy Madison. That guy saying, I mean, I don't know verbatim, but you get what I'm trying to say. And another time, this guy, after he gets out of a 20-minute appeal process because of the E. Jean Carroll scandal, in which he was found liable for sexual assault against her. This guy calls a press conference, flanked by his two attorneys, one of them being Alina Habba, who I am 100% sure that this woman is either screwing him, and I don't mean by screwing him as in screwing him out of money, although it's possible she's doing both. But this guy gets up and said, and I hope to God the judge in this appeals process is actually listen to it. Now, I posted the video about that conference with some very choice words of mine. But he actually admits to doing it all the time. He actually says it. Amidst the blah, 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 yak, 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 all of it's interference against me, it's all against me, everyone's against me, blah, 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 blah. And in his rally in Wisconsin, yesterday, of course, being Saturday, he threatens the entire country if he doesn't win the election.
I better win, or you're going to have problems like we've never had. We may have no country left. It may be our last election. You want to know the truth? People have said that. This may be our last election. You got to get out and vote. This could be our last election.
And goes off on a tangent about teachers actually going into an elementary school, going into schools, and forcing kids to have sex change operations.
You imagine you're a parent and your son leaves the house and you say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school. And your son comes back with a brutal operation. Can you even imagine this? What the hell is wrong with our country?
I mean, what really bothers me about that is that so many of the Trumpers actually believe that crap. And I actually posted on my Facebook page. I actually posted a challenge. If anyone can prove to me, if anyone can give me evidence that that is happening, I would pay them $500 cash in hand. $500. And no one has proven it to me. No one. I told them I want names. I want places. I want the victims' names. I want them all. But unfortunately, no proof. No evidence. Donald Trump just talking out of his ass. Trying to scare the religious right into thinking, oh my God, if I send my kids to school, they're going to come back as women. My boy goes to school as women. Now, obviously, you've seen that clip possibly because those clips, I should say, because it's not the only time, not just that rally in Wisconsin. But what I really want to make this video for is that The debate is this Tuesday, September the 10th. And we already know pretty much the strategies of both candidates. Kamala Harris is going to focus on the issues. I mean, yeah, she's got a lot on her plate to explain, especially for the last 4 years as Joe Biden's vice president. High inflation numbers, the high immigration, everything like that. But she'll tackle those issues with professionalism. And yeah, she'll probably have to take some of the blame for it. And yeah, she probably will because she knows how to do that. She's a former prosecutor. She's a former district attorney, a former attorney general. She knows how to do that. She'll be questioned hard by Jake Tapper. If I'm not mistaken correctly, Jake Tapper from CNN is going to be the one moderating this on ABC and CNN. And of course, Donald Trump and his entire camp, especially on Fox News, are just angry about that. We know that. But here's the thing about that. We know that Jake Tapper is going to be professional about it. Now, we already know what Donald Trump's strategy is going to be. We already know that. He's already made that abundantly clear. But just for the sake of playing devil's advocate, let's pretend that Donald Trump may actually focus on the issues. He'll focus on those issues for 20 seconds. And I am being incredibly generous when I say he'll focus on the issues for 20 seconds. But then comes the personal attacks. We know that he's going to attack Kamala Harris personally. He's going to attack her on being a woman. She's going to attack her being black or being of Indian descent. We know this because he's already done it. We know this because his voters have done it. He'll focus on the issues for 20 seconds. And again, I am being generous. I am being incredibly generous when it comes to giving them that 20-second gap. I'm being incredibly generous by saying he'll focus on the issues for 20 seconds. Because Donald Trump is the type of person, now, don't get me wrong, Donald Trump is the type of person who can answer a question, but his ego won't allow him to answer that question and focus on that issue. I will be incredibly surprised if he doesn't attack Kamala Harris the second he walks on stage. And you know he will. That's what he does. But Kamala Harris is too much of a professional to let that get under her skin. And we know this because probably during her entire life, people have been saying that stuff about her. We know they definitely did say that stuff about her when she became Joe Biden's running mate. The minute she walked into the White House, we know that. However, did she retaliate with idiotic comments? The answer is no, she didn't. What did she do? Instead, she acted like a professional. I mean, every time. See, she has more of a thicker skin than I do. You attack me like that, we're gonna fight. Plain and simple. That's just me talking. That's street mentality talking. But with Donald Trump, here's the thing. I'm not saying Kamala Harris won't attack Trump on policies or anything else, because she has the absolute right to. Not because it's Donald Trump, because what Donald Trump has done. Let me remind you all that Donald Trump told the MAGA in Congress and the Senate to not do a single thing about the border. To not do anything about the border because it'll help. This is Donald Trump saying, and this is the MAGA saying it will help Joe Biden if he were still running for president for a re-election. if we help Joe Biden solve the problem on the U.S.-Mexico border, it will help Joe Biden in a possible re-election. They have actually said that. Instead of doing their jobs and protecting the border and securing the border, maybe the two people they want to use as political pawns, maybe, just maybe, those two people may still be alive. Those two women, one of them was in the University of Georgia. Maybe, just maybe, Laken Riley would still be alive. I forgot what her name was just a moment ago. Maybe that would be possible. So Kamala Harris has to pound that and saying that Donald Trump, although he's been out of office, is still the MAGA in Congress and Senate are still doing his bidding. And it just came to my attention that we might be facing a government shutdown. And here's the thing about that. Donald Trump has told the people in the Senate and Congress not to do anything about it until he's re-elected president. They would rather let the government shut down. They want to shut the government down in the hopes of getting Donald Trump reelected. That is a suicide plan of all the worst suicide plans. And Kamala Harris needs to mention that too during the debate. So we know the strategies of both camps. Donald Trump is going to go personal. And frankly, just me talking, I fully expect him to use the N-word against Kamala Harris. And we all know what that N-word is. And I really believe that he might actually do that. The man can't control himself. His ego won't allow him to control himself. She sees Kamala Harris, I'm not even going to say the word, but you know what I'm saying. He's going to pound on her, but Kamala Harris, if you're watching this video, remain professional. Focus on the issues. If you have to attack Donald Trump, attack him on policy only. If you have to go head-to-head with Donald Trump, go head-to-head with him on policy only. Because let me tell you what's going to happen if you don't. Let me tell you if you meet him on the low ground. Every single Republican pundit out there who's already going to do it anyway is going to pound on you. They're going to say, she's out of control. She can't control herself. We were right all along. She's uncooperative, uncontrollable. Insert whatever word you want. But in the end of the day, you need to focus on policies. If you have to attack Trump, attack him on the policies that he put in place to tear this country apart. And as for Donald Trump, this debate is going to further expose how ineffective and ill-qualified and unreliable as a president you've shown yourself to be during your first 4 years in the White House. At this point, if anyone still votes for you as president of the United States, I question your patriotism and I question your citizenship and your rights to call yourself Americans. This is a guy who is threatening a war to stay in power. So why are you voting for this guy? Unless you absolutely want chaos in this country. Why are you supporting this man unless you absolutely want to destroy this country for the sake of Donald Trump? Now, you see all the poll numbers saying that Kamala Harris has a razor-sharp lead in several battleground states. Do not deter that from you getting up, making a plan to vote, doing whatever it takes to get down to the polling places and vote. Don't think just because we have a few leads in a few battleground states that changes anything. We had that problem back in 2016. Do not slow down. Do not deter. Donald Trump cannot be allowed back in the office. Because if he is back in office, this country will die. And he has made it all the more clear that that's exactly what his motive is going to be. Don't let it happen. Fight with our votes. Because this could be our last chance to end the cancer that is Donald Trump, to end the cancer that is MAGA. It's up to you. CTP, you know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right. Fight with our votes.